Hello, welcome to the Stubborn Tortoise podcast. I'm Donna Pasadena. So today I've got a great episode for you. It's an interview with Lydia Rios, who is probably one of the most extraordinary people I've ever spoken with. Her story is kind of runs the whole, if you want to call it, so what's the word? What's the thing in English? They say the dramatic arc. Yeah, things were pretty bad for a while, and then running more or less saved her life. And she has done some incredible things, and I don't want to give away too much, but she's she's just pretty badass. And she is a single mom of 4 boys, 2 of whom are autistic, nonverbal autistic, which presents its own challenges. And then challenges of having 2 non-autistic boys. That's pretty. I don't know how she does it. I don't, it's just. But anyway, she's managed to do a 200-mile race. I think she's done it twice in the Franklin Mountains after not finishing it the year before. And she lives outside of Houston, so if you know anything about that area, I think it's Pasadena. It's very flat, and so she's managed to do this. She just finished the Habanero 100, this ridiculous race that starts at noon at the end of August and goes for 30 hours, and you run 100 miles, and she did. And before that, she went up to Wisconsin and did the Badger 100, and I've got to do one of those. Lydia was, I was told about Lydia, let's put it that way, by my friend Don Flynn. And so and then she's also been interviewed by my friend Scotty Coomer on his podcast, 10 Drunk Miles. The very, very deep, moving interview. I mean, this one isn't quite as I want to say heavy. I mean, it is heavy, but I chose not to probe too much because I know it's hard. It's got to be, I knew this. I mean, she doesn't tell these stories just for the sake of, telling them. I mean, I think she wants to help other people, and that's certainly something that she, mentions in the interview. And I think it's also cathartic for her. But I also know that bringing up this kind of stuff can be traumatic, and so you want to kind of go gently on some people. And so, but I did find out a few things that I did not know about her, and from other interviews and whatnot. So anyway, I'm going to shut up and just let you listen to this interview. This one was video recorded, so I will be throwing this on my YouTube channel. But otherwise, you guys can just listen to it at your leisure. So without further ado, here's me and Lydia Rios. There we go. Okay. So yeah, so this one will be video and audio, because I know some people really like the video stuff. I just haven't done that much of it lately because I get incredibly self-conscious. Just like shooting myself talking, it's kind of like, no, let's not do that, So anyway, so you're doing good?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
I love the hair. Did you get your hair cut?
No, it's just I guess I showered.
No, it's shorter than I remember seeing it. So
Yeah, no, I haven't done anything since 3 weeks ago.
okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. So yeah, I am beyond excited to have you talk to me. And so Don Flynn, I don't know if you know him or not.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah, he's been telling me about you for a few months. And so I'm like, well, and then I found out that Scott was going to interview you. So I was just kind of like, oh God, well, I don't want to look like I'm piggybacking on him. So I kind of gave it a little time. But yeah, the interview with Scott is pretty amazing. And I'm hoping that we can do equally well and maybe break some other ground or something. I don't know. But so I guess so tell me about yourself. I guess I want to start at the beginning, and then which I realize this is okay. So the way, because I've been thinking about this for a while, like, okay, how do I structure this? I used to be a reporter, okay, or a journalist, and I should be good at this stuff, but it's like I was like, I'm not really sure. So yeah, so I'd like to hear about. So you are from Mexico,
Mhm.
and what part? Zacatecas.
Zacatecas.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
okay, I remember that. Okay, and what is the name of the town?
Uh, La Ciénega de Juan José Ríos.
Okay, and tell me, I know, and I've done a little bit of traveling, through Mexico. I actually studied Spanish, and my Spanish is not great, but
Mhm.
I lived with a family for a month in Guanajuato, um,
Okay.
many years ago, and went to class every day and all this sort of thing. But then on the weekends, we would like take buses, and just, I love taking the second class buses and just going through every little town, I mean,
Mhm.
but anyway, yeah, blah, 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 enough about me. But no, I do, I love Mexico, but that is one part I've not been to. So it's on my bucket list now. So, anyway, so tell me about this town, since I don't really know much about it.
So what I remember is probably what is not today. Like it has grown. I mean, they have Wi-Fi and they use cell phones and the
Yeah, that's good.
new era. I haven't been back since '95. I mean, once we came to the States, I never left. I have never left, and I have my grandmother over there and some uncles and aunts and cousins, but uh, there's I don't for me to take a vacation, whether it's in Mexico or here in the States, it's a challenge, and
I understand. Yeah.
but it was so I grew up in a home where we didn't have like water, like it was just uh, we used to get water like from this truck that will come like once a week,
Okay.
and we will get our buckets to get some water. Or sometimes we did had water, but it was just very limited.
Yeah.
We used to, like shower on the river, and whenever there was water on the river. And uh, it was, I think, 3 rooms, 3 bedrooms, but it was all like dirt. We didn't have, like a house. It was just
I get it.
uh,
No,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, we were poor, but we had enough, I guess. I remember when my parents got me a pair of shoes, like that was,
A
you
big
know,
deal. Yeah.
yeah,
That's very cool. Wow.
yeah.
So yeah, I can kind of relate. Well, I mean, I grew up in Ohio, but I grew up in the country, as I call it, and we had well water. But that thing you just said about the water truck, that like gave me some memories, and I think we may. I mean, it certainly was not like what you're describing, but
Mhm.
I do. Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, we were in the sticks, so I kind of get it, But
Oh,
how many kids
I,
in your family? Oh, I'm sorry.
if I'm assuming that I have like those memories. Maybe it wasn't like that all the time, but it was. I think that it was most of the time that any services were just limited.
Yeah.
Um, it's actually 9 siblings. I'm the second one, the
My
oldest one.
goodness. I
Yeah.
don't think Scott touched on that. So,
Yes.
holy cow. Wow. Okay. That's a lot of kids. Okay. So,
Mhm.
and three bedrooms, you said, or just 3 rooms?
Well, my parents, my mom and my dad had 7, and later on, my mom had 2.
Okay.
But when we were over there, my dad used to come to the States and work like for a period of months during the year and then go back.
Hmm.
So we were a bunch of us, but I don't think we were ever like all together.
Under the same roof. Yeah. Okay. I got
Yeah.
it. So what did your dad do? Or what? Yeah. Because I know your dad has since passed. But what did he do?
Uh, to my understanding, he did like work in refineries
Okay.
or like labor in, like in the country with. I guess corn. I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. I mean, I get it, 'cause it's like my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was a machinist at General Electric, which I know sounds really glamorous, but it wasn't. I have no idea what he did. And I can remember thinking that he made light bulbs or something because I had no idea. And I know he was so frustrated with me because I was just such an idiot, but what are you going to do? But yes, I understand. So, anyway, so a lot of siblings, a lot of, okay. And so how old were you when you came to the United States?
12.
12. Okay. And this is when your dad was sick or just before that?
No, he was sick. We basically, I don't know how many hours we drove from the place where we live to the border. We spent the
Mhm.
night at, I think, at my aunt's, and then the next morning we drove to Houston to Pasadena. And
Uh-huh.
from Pasadena, I guess we showered, we took a break, and then we went to Galveston. And I remember just being like super excited.
Yeah.
And because I'm like, oh, we're in the States. And once I got inside we went up the elevator and the doors open, and I remember seeing my grandma and my mom, and like my just dead, like dead serious. They were just like, oh, and I'm like, oh no,
Oh
this
no.
is bad. Yeah, it was just um like we didn't. I guess I didn't think that he was gonna die. Like it was just unexpected. He got sick, and they put him in the hospital, and he never got out of there. So
Oh.
it was
What was he sick with?
leukemia,
Oh,
and then I believe he developed meningitis
oh my
while he was
God.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And how old was he?
39.
Oh my God. I thought I
Yes,
lost my dad young because my dad was 57. He died of lung cancer, but holy God, that's terrible. I'm so sorry.
yeah. I'm actually turning 40 this month, so
Oh,
yeah, it's
isn't it
even
weird to outlive your
even
parents? Yeah.
yeah, it's even my older brother. Once he turned 40, I remember that he mentioned it, and it's like, yeah, because you get sick, and you're like, am I gonna make it to 40? Am I gonna be make it to 40 or not?
Yeah,
So
I get it. I get it. I mean, when I turned 57, I was just like, okay, guess I'm okay. And so now if I can make it to 63 in a couple of years when which is when my mom died,
mm,
I'm gonna feel pretty good. So it's just like, yeah, but I get some of that feeling of, oh God, am I gonna, outlive
yeah.
my parents or whatever. And anyway, so well again, and I'm very sorry about that. So how long did you guys stay in the States after that? Did you just stay and then that
Mhm.
was it? Okay.
So what they did is we had the visa, and we were supposed to go back, but once my dad died, like I remember when I guess they disconnected him, and they walked with his body through
Oh,
the hospital, and I remember my mom asking me. I guess she was just like she didn't know what to do. She was and she said, "You think we should go back?" And I'm like, "What? Like what? No, I
what?
mean
This is so
he's
much
gone."
better.
And I'm thinking, there's no way. I mean, if he's gone, how are we gonna? If we ever, I don't. If we go back, what are we gonna do? I mean, I could see myself having 9 kids, and you know, doing the same thing that I saw my mom doing, and I didn't want that. So,
Yeah. Wow.
and we didn't have any. I mean, we didn't have anything over there. If it was really hard in here, it was gonna be way worse over there. So,
Of course.
um,
Yeah. That
my
makes
mom, yeah, my mom worked as in a restaurant since all her life.
really.
Yeah.
Was she
She
like a
was the
waitress or what did she do?
she made tortillas.
Okay. The
Hmm.
tortilla lady.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a skill.
It is. Oh,
I mean,
she.
yeah. I just in my travels in Guatemala and Mexico, yeah, I can just remember seeing the tortilla lady coming around. I mean, I don't know if your mom did this, but would come around with a basket on her head, and it was like, oh my God, this is the best. So you went to high school or middle school, I guess, in outside of Houston then?
It was here in Pasadena, South Houston.
Pasadena. Okay.
I'm thinking that you're here in Houston. It was
Oh, sorry, I'm in San
uh
Antonio.
yeah, I can't remember. I think something Miller School. But it's still there.
Yeah.
It's actually close. I volunteer at the women's shelter.
Okay.
And it's just like walking distance to that middle school.
Yeah.
And I actually started 7th grade
Okay.
when I came here, and I graduated. But I don't think that I was actually learning. It was more like just passing, because
Oh, no.
losing my dad, and we were in a very hard situation, and we never had any like counseling or
Oh,
support for grieving, and going through the trauma of one day we live in Mexico and one day we're here, and everything is just different, different language, different people. And because I was actually, when my dad died, I guess the way for me to cope was eating. Like I just gained weight, like I was a bubble. And so
I
a
like
lot
that
of
description.
it was
What were you eating?
a lot of bullying. But it was I till this day, whenever I find myself like stressed out, I feel that one of the things that has never left me is food.
Okay.
So I make that connection, and I'm trying to, like, okay, you stay away from me for a little bit, because I don't want to gain all this weight.
My
Because
goodness.
it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, I can, it's been like a coping skill for me to, or coping tool.
Yeah.
Just not processing the pain or the trauma correctly, and so I found a way with food. So
I mean,
it
yeah.
was a lot of bullying. And so I like, now that I started school, it's like I should know this, but it was just like I just passed, because I guess I was just a quiet girl and just doing homework or whatever, just making C's and passing to the next grade. And but I don't feel that I really learned.
Oh, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Well, how was it with the language though? Because I mean, my understanding is you came over here not knowing English. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. No, I didn't know.
Woo,
I
how did you
actually,
learn? I always admire people that can do this. You know?
I mean, I
It's
went to
hard.
school, but it was really hard. I think I developed, or I was able to talk more comfortable as an adult when I was around, I'll say 20 or 22, and I started working at NASA. Now I tell people I work at NASA. I work at NASA Road. you know,
Oh.
uh,
That's okay.
yes, yeah, I work in on a warehouse, and we used to just go to different businesses. And once I could sell you this pen. As long as I put it in your hands, it was sold. Like, you cannot give it back to me, it was sold. I
Oh
was
my
gonna take your
goodness.
money. Yeah. So
That's
I
great.
did. I lost the fear, or like, it's okay. I can talk with my accent, and people actually like it. They're gonna buy from me, because
You
they're
do
like,
have a
okay,
lovely
get out.
voice.
They're like, get out of my face. I don't understand what you're saying. So here's your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh,
yeah, it's more. I developed the skill to talk when as an adult, not as a kid. And I had my older son when I had just turned 16,
oh my God.
just before graduating high school. So it was uh like I was repeating a lot of the cycle, a lot of the patterns that I saw with my parents, or well, in the place where I grew up, is like, you have girls, and girls are supposed to, a man is gonna choose you. It's not so much dating or going out or having boyfriends, like any of that. Is somebody
Right.
chooses you, they one day they decide they're gonna take you, and you go and have 10, 13 kids. And
Oh,
that was back then. I don't know what it is now.
right.
And the good thing is that my mom was always, because as a child she was exposed, or she worked in Mexico City, I believe, as a maid, and so with just that little exposure, she wanted us to have education. So she will send us to a school outside of the little town where we live. And actually, I used to walk 1 hour to get to that school, and then walk again 1 hour. So it's something that like, maybe that's why I can walk long distance because
I
it
was going to
was
say that
like,
sounds familiar. Yeah.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
so you had a son at age 16. So what about the father?
Well, we got married. We got
Okay.
married. He's
How did you guys
also
meet?
in high school.
Okay.
I was actually, I believe I was on 11th grade, and he had already graduated, but he
Okay.
needed a few credits. And so I met him, and then we kept, like, that's when I started going out. And because my mom was the parent that always worked, she wasn't really involved in what I was doing. So she was supporting us, but she was absent.
Right.
And that's why when I ended up as a single parent, I had a hard time going back to work, because I said I don't want to leave my kids. Like,
Sure.
I mean, if we have to, we have to, right? I guess, but because of that, because my mom was always gone to work, I said I have to find a different way to be able to, work, but also be involved in my kids' lives.
Right.
But,
You saw that importance. Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, so we actually got married, and I thought that he was gonna be, because I had all these beliefs from
From
my
back
culture.
home. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, once you're with a man, that's it. It doesn't matter if you like him or not. That's it. Nobody wants a woman who's been with another man. Nobody wants a woman who has a kid. And so I felt, when I ended up as a single parent, I felt just worthless, because that's what I heard all my life.
Yeah.
And it was, I think I don't really like to talk about my son's dad, because my son, is involved in my life, and for respect of
No, that's
his.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but about now, that's him. Um, but my three young ones, they are from a different dad. We were married, and he left the country
Oh,
8 years ago. So, but I feel that I was repeating patterns. And
yeah.
so when I ended up alone, I said, okay, what can I do I mean, in the middle of chaos, going crazy, um, I've said, what do I have to do so I don't repeat this pattern again? Because if I end up in another relationship, what was the advice of many people, good intentions, they're like, well, you have your hands full with the kids, just find another man from church, a good man, somebody who loves God and who can take care of you, who can go to work, and you can focus on the kids. And I said, no, because no, it's just no. And so uh, I I've been just away from it, like,
Mhm.
just because I'm very terrified of repeating the cycle, and because I'm aware of how much abuse is my kids can receive, because they're nonverbal, they're special needs, and
That's your
we're like,
that's your
mm,
twins, right? Yeah.
yes, ma'am,
They're
yes, and
14. Yeah.
yes, they're turning 15 in December, and my
Woo!
my youngest one just turned 13, but
Ah.
he's going on 18.
Oh
He
boy.
thinks he's the boss.
And how old is your oldest?
He's 23.
Okay. And is he still living with you, or is he on his own, or?
No, he recently got his own apartment. He lives in Bowman, about two
Okay.
hours from me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
He's working. Yeah, he was very terrified to leave, because he knows, like, he was my right hand. He was with me all these
Of
years.
course, since you were
Like,
16, yeah.
and it was he also told me, like, there's no way for me to move on if I stay with you. And I said, I agree, because there was no way for me to help him.
Hmm.
Like, I was, and he was here, and it was very hard to just let him be in his room when everything is chaos and routine, and we need
Yeah.
structure, and I need all the hands that I can, all the help that I can get, and
Of
he
course.
wasn't happy. He was an adult, and so I kind of helped him, and he left during the pandemic. So,
Yeah. So do you guys
but
still talk and whatnot then?
uh, we were really not in a good relationship, in a good place during
Let
that
me push.
time. And he stopped talking to me. Actually, when Scotty interviewed me, I share about that he um we had some, I mean, it was just not a good relationship.
Yeah,
It was like walking on eggshells. That's how I felt.
I'm sorry.
And the good thing is that, you know what, one of the things that I when he left, it was like I'm like, I want him to see whatever he wants to see in me. I want, like I said, I want him to hate me, like really hate me. Like, go ahead, because if you come back, I want you to see me as a person who tried, as
Hmm.
a person that, as broken or messed up as I was, I tried. I didn't give up on him. I didn't, I don't, I feel that I tried my best. I
Hmm.
was late to pick him up from school, but I showed up to pick him up from school. I showed up to his doctor's appointments. I tried.
Right.
And so he came back before the weekend of Mother's Day, and we're like, it's a new relationship.
Yeah.
It's like two adults
Hmm.
with boundaries. He has his boundaries, and I'm like, and this is good because it keeps us in a good place, healthy place. Because he really wants to help, like with the boys, because he
Sure.
knows. But I'm like, you have to move on with your life. My boys are not your, they're not yours. You
Really,
have
yeah.
to. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that will, it sounds like it's, going to eventually, repair itself, I guess. But
Yes.
yeah, because it's takes some time. And I'm sure this is incredibly challenging with, a set of twins that are they're both autistic and nonverbal.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And then
They are.
and one is not eating and then the other one is diabetic. Is that correct too?
Yes.
Okay. What
So
ugh.
they were diagnosed with autism at 3, but around a year and a half, I started noticing things. Like, and the thing again with our culture is that you hear that, oh, they're not talking because you're doing everything for them. Oh, they're boys, they're gonna be late. Or their dad used to say, I didn't talk till I was like 35, or like, it's like, you're like, everybody's just trying to, I guess, on denial. They don't know, and they just try to tell you like it's gonna be okay.
Mhm.
But it was just not the talking, it was them running away from home, from a safe setting, never standing still. I thought that they were dead. I mean, it was just a
Oh,
lot.
that has to be so
And,
hard. I can't even imagine it, children not being communicative, and so
mhm.
how that must be so challenging as a parent. I mean, how do you deal with that?
Well, it was very hard. And the thing is that I hear parents that say that they knew that their kid had autism or had some kind of disability. My kids, as much as I try to remember if I saw signs when they were babies, I mean, I saw signs where they, after a year,
Hmm.
but before that, they were talking, like they were making noises, and like trying to talk back, looking at you, giggling. Like you will do like something and they will like respond, like communication with a baby. Like they will turn around if they heard something. And it was like one day they disappear. You had two bodies, two babies right there, but they're gone completely, and they're sick all the time. And you take them to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician just sends you home with medicine, and then 3 days later you go back because they're not getting any better, and then he puts more medicine on top of that.
Yeah.
It was a mess. There's more awareness now, but it was really hard. And then I started taking them to therapy, and just the guilt of knowing that if I had acted before, there were resources, and early intervention is key. You hear that all the time, which is true. And so just like trying to make up for those years that I felt that I failed. And it was just a lot of guilt. I mean, it was just, and with basically everybody telling you, again, good intentions, that they're okay, they're gonna grow up, or just wait a few months with therapy, they're gonna start talking, and they're gonna. And I guess one of the things that I have noticed about me is that when people tell me that I can't do something, or like I was told that my kids were not gonna, like I did an internship at my church with the special needs, um, and I will see kids. I was exposed to kids, older kids who were their pampers or diapers, and I will hear like it's there, they might never learn how to use the potty, like you
Yeah.
might, and I was like, all right, I can handle a lot of things, but I'm not gonna be wiping no 22-year-old butts. No, 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 they're gonna learn. So the school told me, like I even kept the lead, like I printed the emails because it was just like it got me so angry because I'm like, you cannot tell me what my kid can and can't do. Like they're gonna learn.
Yeah.
And so I have that attitude that when somebody tells me that they can, I'm like, just watch. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I remember sitting it was the Thanksgiving break, sitting on the restroom with one on the toilet and one on the kids' toilet. And I'm like crying and I'm like, please, just go, like pushing water, pushing liquids. And I'm like, it's like, man, you put it in, it has to come out. At some point, it has to come out.
Yeah.
And they learn.
God. Oh, I'm so happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had my youngest one when the boys were toddlers, so it was like I had triplets,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of the same, but with him it was a really severe behavior. I think um, he spoke until close to 4 years when he turned 4, and before doing that, he received a lot of therapy, and he started talking. I mean, he started writing and reading before talking, so like
Wow.
yeah, but it was I will take the twins to get diagnosis, and the doctors will say you need to schedule an appointment with him. He's also autistic. Like we see him, he's not talking, but it was oh my God, I don't know how we did it. I just by the grace of God, because again the boys wander away from home from I don't know how many times, and it was just like just that always that state of fear and panic that if you open the door or they could be gone just like that.
Oh my.
And they were fast, they were so fast. I think that is also one of the reasons why I said if my boys run away and I can't catch them because I can't run, I would never be able to live with myself. So I started, it motivated me to you know
Yeah. No, I understand. So your youngest, is he autistic or no? He's
no.
okay. All right.
No, he's not. And he says I was healed from autism, which
Oh.
I
So how do
he's
you, I mean, I hate to keep asking these questions, but I'm so fascinated by this because it just seems I don't have kids, so I never could have kids. So it's just, like one of those things that never happened to me. But how do you communicate with them? How do you know what they're feeling or thinking or whatever? I mean, is it just like through I mean, like through eye contact, or how does that work?
so it's been a
Sorry, it sounds so
process.
dumb. It just
It's been a process. Actually, when they were when I didn't I didn't accept what they had, or I because I fought so hard for a long, like for 7 years. I think that's the time that I will take them to all kinds of therapy that I could apply it and get grants and research, and it was all about them. And you know what, it was a good thing because it was during the time that their dad was involved.
Mhm.
He was still working, and I could do that um because it prepared me. I went to a lot of training, and I heard from therapists, I heard from parents, I heard from teachers, so I was like open, like quickly, like exposed to all of this, and it's a new world.
Mhm.
And they have the boys can talk. If you know them, you can understand some of the words. Now they have
Oh, okay.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some words that you just they repeat them over and over again, and I tell them like, can you spell because I don't understand what you're saying. And they don't, but they actually can communicate with the device. They just don't really like it.
Yeah.
In therapy, they use it. they can communicate with pictures. It's also something that I taught them to do, because I was so in an R meeting, in a school meeting, by their speech pathologist that, it's going to take a long time and they're not ready. And I'm like, you're not, who are you? I would just get so angry because I could see my boys, like, they're bright. They're just, you just have to find a way to,
Unlock. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And so even once I accepted what they, I guess this is it. I mean, I guess they can get better and it will get better, but there's so many people, there's a community of disabled people. Not, my kids are not the only ones. So I have to accept what it is and have peace and just love them for who they are. Stop trying to change them.
Or
Stop
make
trying
them
to,
normal or normalize them.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think after that, I realized that communication is way more than words. They communicate with gesture, they communicate with sounds, they communicate with their eyes. And they're very independent. They want something, they go for it. Which is also, like you mentioned, it's challenging because one doesn't want to eat. He's been struggling with eating, and the other one is diabetic. So I have to have locks. But the one that doesn't want to eat, he has, because everything's locked, and when he gets hungry, he's using his words.
Yeah.
Because he can't have access to the food.
Oh my God.
It's hard.
Yeah. I was gonna say, as if this was just not enough. I mean, you just, being a single parent and dealing with, these challenges, that's, and your past, I just very briefly want to establish that your ex moved to Mexico after some abuse charges were filed against him. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Coward. Sorry.
Yeah. No, he was. I was talking to a friend last night, and it was like I just, it brought memories of, because I did, when I share in a podcast, it's like I stop because I'm going all the time.
Sure.
So when I do a podcast, it's like when I heard the podcast from the interview with Scotty, it was like, okay, so I said that I want to do all of these things. Like, why have I not done it? Like, if I really want to do them, then I should go ahead and do them.
Right.
So it helps me to share, because I can be like, oh my God, we've been through hell, and we're here. We have a second chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, he left in 2014, and it was just very traumatic, very hard, because I was illegal, first of all, because he makes sure, even though he was legal here, he makes sure that we were married, and we never had the money for my documents. We never had the money for me. That was the excuse. But of course, because that can keep somebody, the control
under his thumb.
And so I didn't have a driver's license, and I was taking the boys to therapy, and I'm thinking, like, how am I going to work? He knows that I can't, like, legally I can't work. Like, even if, like, who's going to help me with the boys?
Got this power over you. Yeah.
Yes. And I was just so angry at myself, because I'm very tough. Like, I'm
Yes,
very strict, and I think I'm trying to learn to have grace on myself, but I'm like, oh no, that's enough. You hadn't, like, you're just losing time. Let's go.
Yeah.
But it was very hard. It was just like, mentally, I was just scattered all over the place. I was just surviving, and it was very scary to find myself, like, being terrified of being alone.
Of course.
Like, I couldn't even look at myself, like, at my eyes on the mirror. I couldn't. I was just, because I had so much hate towards myself, because I allowed this person. And then it's like, I noticed, because I learned about, I'm in a domestic abuse relationship, and I'm like, but that's exactly where I was when I was married before. It was just, I'm like, what in the world? Why did I
up? Yeah, I know. I get it.
I couldn't believe that I didn't took action, first of all, and that I allowed another man to do it again. Like, it was the normal thing.
Was he charming at first? Was he different?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Uh-huh. I
yes,
get it.
yes,
I know those guys. Yeah. So maybe not to that degree, but I get it. And that's why I feel like I relate to you in a lot of in that way, in that, you date people or you're with people and you're like, well, eventually they're going to go back and be that person that they were when I first met them. Of
yeah.
course they will, they aren't this jerk,
Oh, he will tell me
Not
that,
so true.
anything that, if we had a fight, everything was it was my fault. We didn't, if we, anything, like I was doing things wrong. And I was the one that needed therapy. I was the one that I was just imagining things or asking for too much. And yeah.
I'm so,
So
yeah.
my walls are like, no, it's just, I'm terrified.
I
And I'm okay with, taking my time.
Yeah, and I think that's smart. I think that's good. And I know one other thing that we talked, through Messenger. I was like, I could understand the thing about not being good enough. That
Yeah.
whole sentiment. I mean, where do you think is that rooted? Like with your dad? Do you think, or where do you think that comes from, or is that with the men? Not that your dad wasn't a man,
No,
but
I think that since I was a kid, it was just like, not to blame like my mom or,
no,
even in
no,
school, or
I get it.
but it's like I remember things that it was like I wanted to participate in this event in the school. And I think my cousins heard that I was gonna do it, and they told my mom, like, she's gonna go make a fool of herself. She's gonna make a fool of the whole family. And it made me feel like, why can I just do what kids do? And it was like I wasn't good enough. So it was that, and then I go to school and I know I'm not learning. I'm aware of it, and I'm like, why? Why? Well, because I mean, we were just in survival mode.
Hmm.
We didn't have food. When my mom never had money for clothes or shoes or new things, or toys or going out. I started working at 14 years old. It was just a lot for a kid.
Sure.
And so it was that. And then again, when I get married, I hear it like, yeah, if you were just, if you did it, if you did this, then it will be enough. It's your fault.
Hmm.
And with my boys, when I like get on that stage where I'm like, oh my God, I just can't, is when I feel that I'm taking them to therapy. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to do this. I'm looking for resources, this and that. And I get so overwhelmed, and then having to shower them and all of that. And it's like, it doesn't matter how much I try. It's just never enough. It's just never enough. So it's hard. And I'm I'm trying to learn how to not go to that place, because I'm like, there's no purpose in keep in doing that again and again,
Hard when
because
it's ingrained in your brain, isn't it? Yeah.
yes,
No, I get it.
yes.
I get it. I know. I struggle with it pretty much every day. So, all right. Well, let's switch gears just a little because I want to sit here and talk about all the. I mean, I don't mind talking about the sad things, but I don't. Your story is one that's got such an interesting trajectory. It's like we kind of go from here, and it goes up, and I mean, but if there is anything else, about
I think
just-
Yes, I think something that I didn't mention at all with Scotty was that my the my boy Emmanuel, the twin that has diabetes, he was dying basically in front of my eyes. Like he
oh,
started like vanishing. I will take him to the doctor, and again, there's no communication. He can't. But
right,
I
right.
start noticing things, and he will just lay on the living room on the sofa, and I'm like, what? This is not normal. This is not normal. Well, one day the doctor calls me after a few days, visiting her, and she's like, I know this is hard. I know your situation with you're alone, your boys, but you need to go to the ER like right now. They're waiting for you. I already called,
Wow.
because Emmanuel is gonna he's in a stage where, he's gonna get on a comatose state.
Nice.
And thank God his organs were not hurt or were not damaged, because I didn't know anything. And I was just uh numb when we were in the ER, and they're like, you have to stay here for the protocol because we have to train you. We gotta You got to bring someone else so they can learn how to do it, how to give him his insulin. And I'm thinking, this kid doesn't allow anybody to poke him, to put a needle on him. Like it's, and I guess he was just,
Yeah.
I guess he felt the benefit of getting the insulin on his body that he didn't even fought. He
Wow.
was just, yeah, it was just, I picture him as a little lamb that is just dying.
Yeah.
And once he got his medicine, it was just like he came back to life and he didn't even fall.
Oh, thank goodness.
But I will be on the hospital. I stay in the hospital for, I guess, over a week. And the doctors will come in and out, the nurses, and they will tell me, like, well, we don't know a cause. We don't know what causes it. There's no cure. And I'm thinking, well, I have heard this for a long time. I got it. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. By that time, I had already started training for this is January 2017. This is 1 week before my second marathon.
Yeah.
And I have been training for that one. And
With,
I
with
guess,
the proper training plan.
yes, I was actually following a plan.
I love that
And
story.
and I think that is also why when we got there, in a way, I was in a good state. Like I was mentally stable.
Yeah.
But after as the days went by, and I'm sitting there with him and trying to process and trying to be strong, because I'm like holding it all in.
Yeah.
Girl, I just went inside the restroom one night and I just lost it. And I'm on my knees and I'm like, okay, God, we made it this far. We did. Like, we are here. And I haven't given up. I haven't given up on my babies. And I'm not going to give up now. And I'm just crying. And all I can ask is just don't take running away from me. Because I'm willing to give up anything but not running. Because I wanted to be present. And I saw what running did to me. And so we get out of the hospital and the nurses tell me, like, yeah, no, you need to run. Because I thought that I had to give up. Because now I'm thinking, like, this kid gets into food and they don't understand that you eat only half a banana. They see the thing of bananas and they wanna eat 5 bananas at once. So I'm like, what am I gonna do now? And I went and I people from church came and helped me. My older son learned how to give him his insulin. And I was able to go and run my marathon. And that's when I said, I have to find a way, because I don't want to go to dark place. I mean, I was in the dark place, but I'm like, I don't want to lose myself again.
It's your way out of it. Yeah. And for self-preservation, it's not like you're being selfish. It's like you are trying to be good so you can be helpful for your children. Am I right with that? Yeah.
Yeah. No, and there was a time, like, as far as I can remember, I always had depression. Like I was just that, the quiet, and I always, like, I observe, and I
Live
always
inside your
questioned.
head. Yeah.
Yeah, and I questioned a lot of things, and I felt worthless, and I felt not good enough for a long time. So when I ended up alone again with the boys, like I didn't want to be alive. I would think of the benefit of me being gone. I would think, well, because my boys are so adorable, anybody will want them. Like there's so many families that will take them, and they will have better chances at life. And I would think of all the benefits of me being gone. And my youngest one, when we were driving to the boys' therapy, I guess he got tired. He's a lot like me. He got tired of seeing me just gone. Like I was there, but I was just a mess.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "Why are you always crying?" And it made me realize that, they lost a parent by choice, and they were about to lose me by choice, because it was me. I was choosing to give up. And that's when I said, no, I can't be a statistic. I can't. Not, no, I'm going to fight. And it was hard. It was hard, because I will come to my room. Like one of the boys will run away and I will find them and lock everything. And I would just cry. And I'm like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And it was just surviving for a long time. And yeah, it's so interesting that I thought that I had to give up running during that period when my son got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And just a few months later, I'm doing my first 50 miler. And just knowing that if I quit, because at first I didn't know you could quit, like that if you couldn't go on, you could stop, that it was fun. Um, I would think of all the people that were helping me, because it was volunteers, people that from church or therapists, and I'm like, I can't go home empty-handed because I feel that I fail at life every day. Like I'm not good enough. Like I have to win at something. And it was those, well, I don't know if they're small wins, but those
Nope.
50 milers, that
That's a
100
good
milers,
one.
they, and having the opportunity to do my first 100 miler at the place where I tried to commit suicide.
Yeah.
When I
But
heard that Rob was putting a race in there, and I signed up for the 50 miler, and then I said, you know, what is there to lose? What? I feel that I already lost everything.
let's do
And
the
he,
100.
yeah. And I didn't know. I mean, I wasn't friends with anyone in the community. I had met Christina. Um, no, I did met Dawn too, like
Huh?
uh, just like months before that race, I think.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was just like,
Yeah, this community is, it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, like you, I was not a runner to begin with, and so, and I'm not very good at it, but I still try. But it's just like the people that are part of this are just the most amazing people, and they're so supportive, and I feel like I found my tribe, if you will. And I don't know
yeah.
if that resonates with you or not, but I get that, so.
Yeah, and I did found many ways to cope before, during, and before finding running, but it was because there was a lot of people that helped me, a
Uh-huh.
lot of people that gave me advice and saw something in me that I was just surviving. My friend Carla from the gym, she told me, like, no matter what, schedule your workouts during the week, no matter what. And that's why I kept active, and that's why I'm like, I want to run because I saw these ladies running. I'm like,
Mhm.
what? He's gone. He can't tell me that I can't, because I was so used to people telling me what I could and what I couldn't do,
Uh-huh.
that I guess I was waiting for the approval of others. And I said, and everybody said, that back then they're like, just do a half. I'm like, I'm tired of doing half-ass things. Like I'm done. I'm going through the full. I mean, and because yeah, when somebody tells me you can't do something, it's like, okay.
Let's talk about that 200 miler. That Franklin Mount, is it Franklin
Yeah.
Mountains? Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about the first attempt at the 100 miler, and then why you decided to do a 200.
So it was that first year that I started my first 50 miler is in April 2017. Then I jumped 100K, 100K, 100 miler, I think another 100K, and then a 100 mile. And I hear about this race in El Paso. I have no
In the
experience with
mountains.
mountains. Yes, but I'm in this mode that I'm like, I won, I finished. Who is this people? Who are these people to tell me I can? And I had volunteers, so I had credits.
Uh-huh.
And that's when Christina was gonna drive, and I said, well, can I come alone? And she's like, let's go. Yeah, but it was just, I only have one pair of shoes. I was not mountain trained.
What kind
I
of
don't know
shoes
how
are you
many.
running in?
Uh,
Remember?
it was ultras something. I don't wear ultras anymore, so I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
But it was,
no, but you just weren't used. Yeah, your shoes were falling apart, and you
yeah.
one pair,
And
and you're in the mountains.
yes, I didn't have the gear, the clothes, nothing. I was just there because I wanted to do something that was hard and challenging. And when I finished that first loop, and Rob tells me, I start crying because I look at the time and I'm doing the math, and I'm like, I can't go. I can't. And he hugs me, and he's like, it takes sometimes it takes us several attempts to conquer this mountain, to conquer the beast. Don't worry.
But you went out
And
for another loop, didn't you?
well, yeah, the moment that he tells me, here, sit down, and it was just that something raised up in me. I'm like, no, I didn't leave my kids. I didn't drive here. I didn't ask for help to quit, to sit. I can. And I went for another loop, and it was like a fight with God. Like I was angry. And I told him, like, if you want me out, you have to come. You have to get out of there. Like, if you're up there, come down and take me out, because I'm not quitting. And it was something that I needed. It was like real worship right there, and it humbled me because I understood that, you know what, I've been doing this because basically I trusted that he was gonna pull me through every race, and he did. And I said, if not this time, then I'll be back. There was a lesson here for me to learn, which was that, you know what, I'm angry. I'm even angry at you because I feel that I have done all that I can, that I have done everything fine, and it's never enough. So it was hard, but I heard that he was gonna put the 200, and I said, just watch, I'll be back. And
I love that.
and when I came here, I was just depressed. I mean, it wasn't that I came here and I'm like, I'm gonna start training. I was just processing the loss that I didn't finish that race, and that it was okay, because it wasn't
And your
okay with
friend
me.
didn't finish either, did she? And she finished. I mean, she dropped before you did too, right?
Yeah, she said that she was hiding. So whenever I came in, she said that she was hiding. So to see what I was gonna do, because she thought everybody, I guess, was dropping on that first loop. Whoever,
That makes sense. Yeah.
and she said, I just can't believe that. And I just put water in my bag and I took off. Like, no, I'm not stopping it. And again, it was that I needed that time away in the wilderness, and it really helped me. But yeah, we came back, and I was just, I remember when her and her son were driving, and I was just like holding it, but I was just heartbroken, because I'm like, I thought I had found something where I was good, something that I could accomplish. And I was depressed, and I did my taxes, and I had some money saved to, for an emergency. And I said, I think saving my life is an emergency. So I signed up for the race.
The following.
Yeah, for the next year. And I said, by doing this, I'm buying me 1 year. If I want to die, if I want to do something, to end my life, it will be after I had attempted the race. And I was, in a way, when I went there, like, I knew I was going to finish. I had that confidence because I worked hard during the year.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing because it was like God just put the right people in my path. I never imagined I could afford a personal trainer. And he's like, well, you're in a bad place, let me sponsor you. I'll just, you can come for my services. You just do this, and that. And then before going to the race, he said that, so he sat me down and he said, Lydia, I don't think you're ready. I really think that you should wait. And I sat down and I looked at him and I said, F you. Like, I don't care what you, like, I just said, I don't care what you think. And he's like, you're going right. And I said, yeah. And he's like, then start acting like you really want it. And that, like, in a way, like, woke me up. And I'm like, okay, this is serious. I only have so many months or so much, weeks. I don't know. It was close to the race when he told me that. He's like, you need to start acting like you really want that. And yeah, when I went there, I knew I was going to finish. I just knew. I just knew. I didn't know what was ahead, but I had trained my body for what was ahead.
Right.
And yeah, it was such an adventure.
And how many women finished?
The first year?
No, the second, when you did the 200.
Yeah, so because Rob put the race twice. So the first year, I believe it was 5 women, 5 or 6 that they completed.
Yeah.
And the following year, only 2. only two women. Yeah, I see him.
Um, this is Hazel. Say hello to yeah. Hey. Oh, he's so dorky. Anyway. So
Yeah.
yes, 5 or 6 women finished, and you were the final one, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was the last one. And it was an adventure because I didn't have a pacer, and my pacer appeared
Right.
out of nowhere in there. And oh, I think on Scotty's podcast, one thing that I did mention is like I didn't, I did all these races without help and this and that. There, like when I started training, when I signed up for a race, I never asked like, let's say I didn't ask Christina, hey, can I ride with you? It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just like I signed up for the race, and everything got like the people came and they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going, let's go. I'll help you. And
yeah,
it was the same with like I didn't have a pacer, like I didn't ask any, I didn't know anyone. And I'm like, I'm not gonna ask somebody to, first of all, they don't believe in me because I don't have the experience.
yeah.
And I'm not going to ask somebody to put their life on hold to train to come and help me. I said, no, I'll just go and do it myself.
Well,
But
but then you
he
met
was,
that one guy, right?
yeah, he was there to pace another runner. His name is Solomon. He was there, I remember I'm struggling to get to the peak, and there's this guy just smiling, grinding, and he's like, are you doing the 200? I'm like, yeah, you can tell that I'm doing the 200. And he's like, you're amazing, this and that. And I think when I come down and he's still there and he's like, do you have a pacer? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, I'm gonna volunteer and this and that. I can help you after that. And it was him because of on the last aid station, on the last loop, I just lost my mind. I was daydreaming.
Of course.
I remember things like I had the date of the day that I was supposed to finish the race like engraved in my head. I will say the graduation. The graduation is in February. I think it was February 10th. And I will say the time. Like I remember saying that like today is the day. Today is the day. Because I'm thinking I'm dreaming. But then I realized because I kept saying the date, I realized that I was not dreaming, and I will just cry because I was in so much pain. And I'm like, I have to finish. I didn't get this far to not finish. And he's telling me, I just can't believe that you ran 190 something miles. And because I didn't have a watch, I never keep track of my
Oh
pace.
my gosh.
And he's like, and you running like so many minutes per mile. And, and I just started like seeing things.
Of course. That's yeah.
Uh-huh. And he helped me. He got me to the finish. Because they had picked up the thing is that they picked up the flags by
Well, they were
mistake,
tearing down. Yeah, yeah.
and they were not supposed to, they were supposed to leave the ones that I was supposed to follow to the finish, but and because he was there to pace, he had not been in the out for the other loops. Like we just we wandered for a long time. That's what I feel, that we were just wandering around, and I was seeing things, imagine, and he got me to the finish.
That's
It was because I'm like, I just can't believe that I
how
made it
long did
this
it
far.
take?
I think 105 hours.
Woo! Did you sleep at all or no?
Yeah, no, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just couldn't stay.
No, I
Uh,
can't imagine.
and the second time was my goal was I was hoping to
So
finish
you've done this
earlier.
twice? I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. Oh my
So
God.
so that was the first year. The second year, it was only 2 women that finished. So I'm the only woman that finished both years. And because some of the runners that went the first year were not able to finish the second one. So when I heard that they were, dropping from the race, or they were getting sick, or I was like, oh my God, I'm next. I mean, if they're out, what
Iron.
makes what makes me think that it's not me next?
Yeah.
And
Oh my God.
it was interesting. Each race brings a lot of like, I guess, the trauma, and I'm able to, during those how many hours I'm out in the wilderness, to process and come to peace. I feel that that's the thing, that I'm like angry, upset, crying, and then you know what, it happened, I don't know, for a reason, but I'm here because that, and I'm not going to allow the abuse or the anger to take more place in my life. I'm going to see the beauty, the people that are here helping me, the doors that have opened. So
That's awesome. That's super cool.
yeah.
So you've done Snowdrop also, from what I
Yes.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it this year. Well, I say I'm doing
Awesome.
it, but I'm hoping I'm gonna finish. Yeah, I
Oh,
tried it.
you've been.
I tried it about 5 years ago, and I got 100K. It's just because it's such a different sort of race. I think my mind was sort of like, okay, why am I not at 50 miles yet? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I was, so I went back to the hotel at mile 50, and then I slept for a couple hours, came back, did my 12 and got my 100K, and I've done the relay a couple of times, but I've watched people finish it, and so it's kind of inspired me mentally, how to get through this. And so how was it for you? Because that's a different kind of race. I mean, it's all those
It
circles.
is, and it's basically flat. It's just
I love
this.
that
Uh, my I like it. My legs sometimes don't like that,
part.
because
No,
I feel that the mountains you get to move your legs, your body in different ways. It's
right.
challenging, but it's um the first year I did 149.80.
Oh, why did you not
Yeah,
get that 0.2?
because I spent too much time in the restroom, I think.
I'm
So
just testing you.
as you can imagine, I was angry with myself, as I'm thinking of, if I had not taken that nap, if I
Oh,
had not, if I
so you
had
did it in 55. Okay, got it.
on
Yeah,
49.80,
that's
and
still
I
awesome.
and everybody thought that I was gonna, they're like, just do one more loop and you'll be at the 150, and you'll only have so many minutes. So that last loop, I'm two of the ladies take off, and they're pacing me, and they're like, come on, let's go. And I gave everything, and I came short to
Yeah.
the 150, because I was aiming for the 150.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So the following year is when we had COVID, and they had the virtual one.
Yeah.
So I went to Memorial Park, and I said, I'm not gonna wait till next year. I have to get with that
Oh,
150.
can't imagine.
So yeah, with the help of some amazing friends, actually one of the ladies, my friend Erica from El Paso, flew here to crew me, and to support me,
Yeah.
and because they knew how much I wanted to just. It was like the Franklins. I just have to get it done. Like, I just need to get it done.
And you got the 150?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So have you done it since, or are you planning to do it again, or is that just,
Yes,
you
I've
know?
been doing it. So I did that one. I did it this last year, which
Oh,
it was only past 100 miles. I think 104. It was just I was
it was hot that
all
day. Or those,
yes, and
yeah,
I
it was
had
related. Ooh,
I was really sick from I don't know how many months, and then I got really really sick at I mean, towards the end of the year and the beginning of this year. And it was just I suffer a lot in Snowdrop. I suffer a lot in Process Band.
oh yeah.
And then I got really sick early this year, and I was so sick that I stopped, and I said, well, because I had no option. I was in my bed alone. Basically, I felt that I was dying
Ugh,
because I had a tooth infection.
oh
And
no.
so, because I guess it had taken so long for me to take care of it, that I was it was just all over the place. It wasn't just like my tooth. It was just a
Yeah.
root canal, um, and it helped me like put things in priority, because I'm like, I've been in survival mode, and I've been doing these amazing things, but I've been just in survival mode. I'm like, why haven't I gone to the dentist? And I'm thinking, because you're taking your kids, because you're doing this, you're just surviving. So you have to stop. You have to
Your
stop and
body
take care of
saying
your.
something. Yeah.
And it's yeah, but I only got 104 miles, and I was just like,
Don't
you
say
know what?
only. Are you going this
Well,
year? Are you going this year?
no, yes, I've been for my friend's
Uh-huh.
son who passed. His name was AJ, and so I run in his memory.
Oh,
This I met this family actually through a group of volunteers from my church that came and helped me when I was again going crazy, ripping the carpet out of my home, and they came and loved on me. And wash my dishes, and she took care of my boys so I could get a haircut. And it was just, it's the community have loved on us through the years, like immensely. People have poured their, you know, their love and finances. It hasn't been just like, I'm gonna pray for you. It's like people actually showing up with a $20 gift card so I can put gas in my
They
car.
demonstrated, yeah. That's
And that is, I think that is one of the reasons why also I didn't like, I didn't kill myself, because I'm like, all of these people are doing all of this for me and I'm just gonna quit. I'm just gonna quit. Like, if it would be different if nobody showed up, if nobody texted, if nobody like actually help, not just say I'm gonna help you or everything's gonna be fine. Like, people actually showed up for us. I'm
mhm.
like, I just can't quit.
Yeah,
And I'm so glad that, you know, now that I'm like, now that I'm famous, I'm like, it's because you have no idea how many nights I cry myself to sleep if I could go to sleep, because I had all these nightmares and I
yeah.
felt so alone. And now to go out and like, wow, people get inspired because I didn't give up. It's pretty cool.
We
It's
are very inspired by you, yes, and
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I
it was
can't wait to meet you at Snowdrop. Are you doing Brazos?
I'm doing Loop Garou,
What's that?
the one Loop Garou in Louisiana.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yes,
Yeah, so,
I
well,
went.
I'll see you at Snowdrop then, yeah, because I'm doing,
Yes.
what am I doing? Mission, Tejas?
I might do that one. Depends on if I have childcare, and because it's far
Uh,
for me. And if I'll see,
for me
hopefully, because I
too.
like I love that part. And
Yeah, that's what well, that's the thing, because it's like I'm in this training group right now for a 50K, you know, even though I've done, 50 milers and stuff, but um the race that our goal race is like a weekend following Mission Tejas, and I'm going to be out of town. So,
oh,
but I thought, ooh, Mission Tejas, that looks fun. It looks beautiful.
yeah,
So I'm going to try to do the 50K there. So hopefully I'll see you. So that would be
okay.
exciting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then also, you just two things I know that you just did that are pretty freaking incredible. You did Badger 100, which, oh my God, I've got to go do Badger.
You
That
have to.
I do. I'm going to do it next year. I'm not sure which distance or anything, but yes. So that was amazing. You did that one, and then you finally got that habanero buckle, right?
Yes. Well, it's actually this. It's the second one, but the thing is that I had two
Okay.
DNFs. Two. I when I and the thing again, I'm so hard on myself. Like, I'm like, oh, I didn't finish, and it was in a way because it's really, it helps me to see my, I guess, my reality, but not be like, oh, poor me, I can't do it. I'm like, okay, I didn't finish the race because, again, the first year that I stopped, like, I was buying socks. What's her name? I can remember her name. She had a running store and she would go and put the store right there. And I was buying socks. I didn't have socks. I didn't have the gear. I didn't have extra shoes. I didn't have a crew or pace or nothing. Again, I'm not asking people to, I don't, first of all, I don't feel that I know anyone that well. And like, who's going to want to do that for me? Like, I didn't, and I'm like, I'm going to go run and come back. So that first year was that I didn't have enough gear, and I was just like, I'm training for the 200. I'm okay. I'm
Yeah.
okay because this is the goal for me this year is the 200. But I never forgot that I quit because it was my choice to stop. It
Mhm.
was just past the 50 mile, and then the second year again I was training for the other 200. But that year I believe I only had like 4 loops and I still had time. And Rob told me, like, you can do it. And I said, I just don't want to, because my son was supposed to start college the next day.
Oh,
And my body's just destroyed. And I'm thinking, I mean, it's not gonna get any better. It's hot and this, and I have to drive home tonight and I have to be able to move. It doesn't matter if my body is messed up. I gotta take my son to his first day of college classes. So I'm like, I gotta go home. Like,
I
I can't.
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still, like I quit, and then I'm like, it's okay. And then like 2-3 days later, I'm like, why did I quit? You couldn't. I'm hard on myself.
No, I know. But
And last year,
I
yes,
get it. Yeah.
yes, last year my friend Candy and Mo, they pays me. My friend Sandra, several people crew me, and so I finished, I think, on like 27 hours. It was a really nice time.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, but I wanted to do it like alone,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, I like doing things because I love, in a way, I like to do it alone. And whenever there's a need, I love how like God just provides unexpectedly, and I'm like, I trust that He's gonna show up, so He does.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your upcoming goals? Of course, snowdrop, but I mean, what what do you have any like really big goals coming up, or is it
Yes, I actually want to go
bigger?
to. I want to go to the day after Thanksgiving to go visit Scotty and do 100 miles over there. They have I think the biggest trot trot
Oh,
trot.
turkey trot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
uh,
Oh, that thing. Oh Lord.
they told me about it, and because Rick, the guy that Rick and his wife, they let me use their home when I went on the vacation this
That's
summer. And
nice. Yeah.
yes, and he's like, "Hey, have you heard of this race?" And I'm like,
Oh God.
"No, but it." And he's like, "Well, we can find a way to fly you in," and I'm like, "Yes, I'm in." I mean, I just have to make sure I do all my homework because it's like the weeks before towards the end of my college classes of the semester.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have that, the Loop Garou, Snowdrop. I'm doing the Chevron Marathon again this year. One of
Okay.
my friend Sandra sponsored me, and I'm like, yes, I'll take it.
Taking it back to the roots. Yeah.
And one thing that I'm really like passionate is that I started doing martial arts actually a year ago.
Ooh, look
So
out, boys.
so I because I have run like to raise money for several things, right, or help several causes, um but I haven't found a thing that I'm, because I'm, like can I raise money for autism awareness, or people tell me like, hey, do you have a page where I can donate to help you and your kids because you need the help.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I just don't feel okay like going out and saying, hey, donate here. I know that if like when I did the Franklin,
Mm-hmm.
when I needed like tape and shoes, and I put it out there, people were willing to help me. But I'm like, now that like I had a goal and I needed this, and I was very specific. I didn't want to take advantage of anyone.
Sure.
And on this one, what I just have this vision of, now that I'm running, I'm like, I'm gonna keep running. Hopefully I can, because it's something that is just, it's part of me now. I don't do it because I want, yeah, the buckles are pretty, but it's just a thing. It's just a thing that my kids don't care how many buckles I got. My kids don't care.
It's more the sense
And
of accomplishment.
yeah, and well, I would love to raise money to help parents like myself who can't afford to put their kids in martial arts, because martial arts, like running, does builds discipline,
Mm-hmm.
confidence, and if you keep your child in there, there's more chances that I feel that he's gonna grow up healthier, or he or she's gonna be able to uh, process the traumas and stay out of trouble, or find
Yeah.
a different way to cope. And because I'm doing it, and I thought that by running I was like letting everything like go. Oh, it's very different. It's so different. And I would love to, like if I go to Mission Texas and be like, hey, from now on, I'm raising money for this. I want to help this. I mean, we can't help everyone, but we can do a difference. Maybe here, starting here in the school where I actually go,
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that the kids have their gear. If somebody cannot afford, because like, here's the thing, I started doing martial arts, and I'm like, I don't have the money, so because it's an expense, especially for
Oh,
single parents.
yeah.
And so when I took my son, I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I didn't know how I was gonna pay. I just wanted him to remember that I tried, that
Mm-hmm.
I tried. And
Youngest one.
yes,
Okay.
and so when I took him for his first class, the owner, he's like, don't go, because they actually asked me to step outside with my twin boys because they're loud and the kids are looking, they're not focused
Yeah.
on their class.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you know what? Isaac waited for my twin boys in their therapy session for so many years. He used to say, I too have autism. I want to go to therapy, because it was just he saw it as playtime and he didn't get any of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I said, it's okay, we'll wait. I don't mind. The boys have to learn to wait for their brother. And the owner tells me, he's like, so can you afford it? And he's asking Isaac all these questions. Are you sure that you want to do it? And this and that. And he's like, yes, I want to do it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, so how much is it? Okay, payments, how am I? And I'm listening, and he's like, well, yesterday this guy that owns a company or something decided to, he said that he wants to sponsor a child for a whole year. So the moment that I saw you
Oh
walking
my
in with your
gosh.
boys, he said, I knew that it was gonna be Isaac. And I'm just like, I'm crying because the reason why I put Isaac on martial arts is because I don't want, the boys are so big and they can hurt you.
Sure.
And I also want to learn how to restrain them properly without hurting them. And, and I don't ever want to see my youngest one being hurt by their brothers
Right.
because they have special needs. I said, no, that I have to make sure that he knows how to, and I have to find a way for him to also process all the trauma, because he deals with a bunch of stuff every single day.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, he needs something. And so then I focused on doing, last year I focused on habanero. And that's when my youngest, my Israel, stopped eating, and I felt just guilty because I was just focused on my goal. But then I started, I once I saw my son and how they did it, and I saw the other adults, I'm like, I I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I signed up and I started, and then I couldn't pay, and I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I said, well, maybe I can clean the school in exchange for services. I mean, my services in exchange for classes.
Sure.
They're
Sure.
like, yes. So that's what I do.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
Yes.
Oh my.
So now I see that, there are parents that want to keep their kids in class and they just can't afford to. And I'm like, if I can make a difference, if I can raise, a little bit of money to give them a hand up, or,
Or just
that would
awareness.
be cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to
That's
keep running,
amazing.
but yeah, to help the community and the kids, because these are the kids, or, the next husbands or wives or partners, the next, and
Generation.
they, yes, and they having that structure and that discipline and self-control.
Yeah.
You just don't get it at it. I mean, it makes a difference.
It
It
certainly.
does.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me about your schooling. Where so I know you're in college right now. So what
Mhm.
are you studying?
I am going for communications. So basically, I guess what you you can
You're
be
in
my
the right
mentor.
field. So what do you want to do? What do you want to do when you grow up?
Uh, so I don't know. I guess I've been wanted to go to college for since the moment I graduated.
Mhm.
And it was one of the things was I was married. They didn't believe that women who get married should have education. That's one. The other one was that I was illegal again. It was just I didn't have a social security. I couldn't apply for aid, for help, and then I was just surviving all these years, just having the kids. And when I heard the podcast with Scotty, is one of the things that I heard myself say, like, I want to go to college, and I'm thinking like, well, you said you wanted to run, you started running, you said you want to go to college, then go
You
finish
go.
the process, get it done, and it was just, I was
Yeah.
so terrified.
Oh my God.
And
So
it's just 2 classes per semester, but it's
yeah,
gonna
well,
take a while, but it's I think that is enough
no,
because I
you
want to
got a
learn.
lot.
I
Yeah,
want
you want to
I
pass.
want,
Yeah.
yeah. I want to learn. I just don't want to like overwhelm me more and be like, I can do it. I can, no, I'm like, it's okay. I waited 22 years. It's okay.
Yeah. So, so what kind of stuff are you studying? Are you studying like writing and audio, or is it communication studies, or what kind of stuff are you studying?
Well, right now it's my
Basics.
during this. Yeah, well, the in the summer I took the basic, which was math, was what I needed to do. And right now it's writing, and I think the other one is like the psychology of how we learn. So it's
Okay,
like two different. So I'm enjoying it.
that's
The
exciting.
little, yes, as
Well, if you ever need
any,
advice or anything about communications, please let me know.
yes. Oh, you will hear from me.
Oh yeah, I'd be happy to help. Yeah, because that's super exciting. That I always love when I hear people are studying that, because it's like good. I mean, I wouldn't be out here teaching this stuff if I didn't feel like it was important,
Yeah.
for society, etc. So, anyway, we are coming up on an hour and a half. Is there anything else that you would like to add? I realize this is not, quite as extensive as the Scotty interview, but that's okay. We've covered some other stuff that
Yeah.
wasn't in that one, but is there anything, I guess, in terms of just like giving advice to people who, um, don't know that they can, do things or whatever. What, I mean, and you were definitely, living proof of someone who can do these things and still have a lot on your plate. So
I I there when there's a will, there's a way. There, and this is coming from someone whose son gets into the food and he's diabetic and he's not supposed, he needs his insulin. Um, this is coming from someone who cleans houses a few hours a week. Sometimes, if the kids are here during the summer, I can work. And this is coming from someone who was completely broken, uh, just ready to give up, depressed, PTSD. I used to hear things, and it's like you don't know what's real and what's not real. Like you feel that you're crazy, that you don't. It's better for you to not be here. And someone who drove to the beach to end her life because I couldn't even breathe without the pain, with that suffocation, that I was hopeless. Take it one step at a time and know before you start that you're gonna fail. And by failing, you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn a lot by yourself. Like the way that it happened to me during those races that I was not able to complete, I learned so much from those races. Those were the races that like fired me up and made me realize that I needed to do something different if I wanted a different outcome. Um, my life in a way is this in a way, I guess it's been like the same. That the boys, i can't leave I can't leave because they need their medicine, they have their dental appointments, they need to be dressed, they need to be showered. um they require a lot, but I'm in a different place, and I think that they feed from the way that I'm positive, more happy, more present.
your model, like,
um
yeah,
Yes, and I love that. I said, if this is the way that they're gonna be, with support and help, I'll take it. They're here with me. They're my babies. They have changed my life, and we have touched so many lives because they are different. And it's just, life is not fair, and I don't think that it's supposed to be fair. I don't know, because I don't know what the definition of fair is. And we think that things are supposed to be easy. We want everything quick and fast, and we want to feel good all the time. Like, I don't want to run because if something hurts, get over it, find therapy, do whatever it needs to be done. Don't go all in on the first trial. Just keep trying, get back up and do it again and again and again, and change. um Feel whatever you processing in that moment. It's okay to feel and process it, and just get up, get up again, because we do get a lot of second chances, but there actually comes a point where I think that life, we're all going to die eventually. So who knows? So live your life, make a difference, think outside of these are my circumstances. Go and help someone else. Like, it makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely see that. Yeah, that's
Mm.
great. So, all right, hang loose for one quick second. I'm going to stop recording. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview. I hope you found that uplifting, because I think more than anything that her story is incredibly uplifting, and um, just something that, I think if, anybody, because we all go through our doubts, and we all have, our self-flagellation, we're beating ourselves up and things like that, or maybe not everyone does that. I know I do. And that's one thing that, we touched on a little bit, is, that feeling of not being good enough. And I certainly can relate to that. And, you know, yeah, anyway, we don't need to go into why I don't feel like that, because I think I've covered that in other podcasts where I'm just talking. But anyway, yeah, very uplifting. And I hope you get to meet her at some point. If you, she, just because being outside of Houston, she tends to do more of the trail racing over Texas races. Although I would love to see you, Lydia, at a Tejas Trails race, just for sake of changing it up. And they're a great group as well. So anyway, so yeah, that was quite a talking to her was just a great feeling of I don't know, just uplifting. And I don't know why I'm not very articulate today. Yeah, and so last I've been running like a crazy person, or not like how I normally do in my given weeks. I went out with my training group on Saturday to Eisenhower Park, which is this, I know some people love this place. I just kind of have a love-hate thing with it, because me and rocks don't get along. Okay. And these are like boulders, and you're climbing, and I feel like I'm doing like, da 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 da, when I'm going down, I feel like I'm doing show tunes. I have one arm in the air and the other arm is out, and I'm trying to step out without killing myself or breaking something. Yeah. So I hung out with my friend Sarah, and a new friend Jorge, who also did habanero, by the way. He did 100K. I shouldn't, and I'm not going to say just, because regardless, that's pretty amazing. But yeah, we were out there on Saturday morning, and I was supposed to get in like 13 miles, but oh my God, the humidity was just, or the dew point, it was, or as I call it, the dew point, really bad, really bad. So I did one, I guess, like 4 mile, almost 4 mile loop of the rocks and hills, and then I was like, I'm going to go hit the pavement, because I just, here's the other thing too, is like my goal races and whatnot, again, going to be pretty flat. So there's no point in me, beating myself up on rocks at this point. I mean, unless I just want that challenge. And to be honest, I really wasn't up for it on Saturday. But yeah, so I did that. And then yesterday I ran into what I thought was a new place, although Strava tells me I've run some of this area before and I don't have any memory of it. It's like, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm losing it. This is out by UTSA, just kind of northwest of where I live. And they have this beautiful greenway, it goes on for miles. And so I went out there, and of course it's 11:30, 12, something like that. Thank God it was overcast, but it was still, oh my God, again, dew point out of this world. I mean, I did 6 miles, and by doing 6 miles, I mean walk run. Okay. I won't lie. And then I couldn't find my car. So I tacked another mile on, and I was like, oh God. And but I got a large iced tea, unsweet. I always drink unsweet tea, and just sucked that thing down on my way home. Oh, why do I never learn this lesson? I cannot drink cold liquids, even as much as I want them so much. I can't drink a lot of cold liquid after I've done a very hot, sweaty, hideous workout, because it comes right back up. And holy God, by the time I got home yesterday, I'm like racing in the door, jumping over my cats practically, and, racing into the bathroom, and just threw it all up. So my $2.80 tea, was thrown up and went down the drain. But I just kind of felt kind of the rest of the day. So, but I recovered. Usually after you throw up, once or twice you feel better, and so it's all good. But oof, God, I gotta stop doing that to myself. But today I ran the San Antonio Roadrunners wine run, which is spelled WHINE. But it does involve wine. If you want that, listen, I love wine, but not at 9 o'clock in the morning, it's just like, no, I'm just not going to do that. But yeah, so I did the 5-mile run, and surprisingly, the legs felt pretty good. I mean, I, ran as much of it as I could. I mean, I kind of was going by feel with my walk breaks and whatnot. And, it was, again, very, very humid. This is, again, if you're watching this on video, you will see that I haven't even showered yet, but I just wanted to get this out. Because my eyeliner is a little spread under my eyes, and my hair is a mess, and still very sweaty. But anyway, and it's also sort of a humbling experience because they were giving out awards, and I haven't done a road race in 5 years. I mean, really, I can't remember the last time I did a road race except for maybe the Turkey Trot when I first moved to San Antonio. And I just don't like doing road races. But so I had this half-hearted notion that maybe I would place in my age group because they were going 69 and to 60. And so I was like, probably a chance. I don't know how many of us were out there. Oh no, I came in last in my age group. Out of like 16 or 17, I think, in that age group. So yeah, it's even getting competitive in the old ladies category. So there you go. But I did pretty well. I mean, I did pretty well. I think my pace was like 13.5-minute mile, which again, for me is not bad, I mean, I'm not going to see those days of 10-minute, 10-30 miles, again in my lifetime. And what are you going to do? I mean, I'm just celebrating being out there and getting something done and, not falling apart. And, it was okay. It was okay. It was very well organized, and, saw a bunch of friends out there. And so that was good. And, yeah, so anyway, that's basically that. I am trying I am such a crazy person, but I am going to attempt the marathon in 1 month at Lake Somerville. It's a race put on by Tejas Trails called Trailways. And I saw it and I was like, I was, first of all, wanted to do this race because it looks really interesting. Because it's sort of flattish and not technical. And so I was like, okay, I'm all in, let's go. I mean, I just pray that I can make the cutoffs because that is the furthest distance in this particular race. And so now I'm kind of like, oh God, it's like a 9-hour cutoff. And I'm pretty sure I can do it. I'm pretty sure I can get this thing done in like, God, I hope 7.5 or 8, it just kind of depends. Again, I'm slow, but if I can get it done, I'll get it done. Yeah, and so then I've got Mission Tejas a couple of weeks after that, and yeah, so it's snowdrop is coming, so, and I'm determined to to get this thing done in one way or another. So yeah, so that's been kind of, I've been at least trying to cajole myself out of being lazy and whatnot. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, wow, this episode's going to be really long, largely because of a great interview. But then also I'm blathering about growing up and stuff. So anyway, that's all I've got for now. I'll see you next time.